Hi, welcome back to my channel, Stitch in Style by me, Nadia. And today I want to share a couple of recent makes with you. Now, I have been quite busy over the past couple of weeks since I did my marathon, and thanks for all the well wishes on the marathon. I completed it. I was very happy to do so. Since the height of doing the marathon, I did feel a little bit flat and a little bit bored, and what better way to fill the time than doing quite a bit of sewing. And I've stuck to a theme, and actually I've really enjoyed sticking to a theme, and I have been quite prolific, and I have also not been feeling at my best. So I had a bit of time off work, and then I had my non-working day, and I did manage to get some sewing done in between, you know, resting and making sure I was recovering from my illness. So the first thing I want to share with you is my Celeste dress by Naomi, and this has been on my list for a long time. I bought the pattern as soon as it came out. I just loved the vibe of it. As you can see, I'm going to put some pictures up. It's a jersey dress, and on the pattern it has the exposed seams. It has like an underbust seam and one that goes from the back of the waist round over the hip and down the front. And then there's kind of some, and then it's a flared skirt and it's quite a high neck. This pattern was on my Make 9, and I actually bought the fabric as well when I bought the pattern. I wanted to make a toile of this dress because it's got the underbust seams. I wanted them to sit in the right place, and I wanted the waist seam at the back to sit in the right place, it to come over the right place, like over my hip, and I wanted to check the length. So the material that I used was just a really cheap material. I think it's a viscose, and it's from Legend Textiles, and I decided to make a practice up in that before I cut into my fabric, because the fabric that I did make it in is Lady McElroy fabric, so I didn't want to cut into that before I was happy with the fit. So I made the practice one up, and I made it with the exposed seams. I'll just get it actually. So this was my practice one, and you can see there, but when I put it on, it's actually sitting like a little bit too low. Like I knew I just needed to bring it up a little bit there. I did it with the exposed seams, and I made this up while my husband was at work. And then I was sat in it when he came home, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were wearing pyjamas." He said, "But your dress is inside out." I was like, "No, this is how it's supposed to be." And he really could not get his head around the exposed seams, and that's how it is supposed to look. So he was like, "We could just turn it inside out." I was like, "But that's the back of the fabric." Then yeah. He did make me laugh. He did say, "Well, do you like it?" And I was like, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, you shouldn't mind what I think then." I was like, "Well, no, I shouldn't." But I did think that maybe people think that I don't know how to sew, or made a mistake or something. But so yeah, it kind of like, I like the exposed seams, but I know it's not for everybody, and I did worry a little bit about what other people think. Not that I should care about that. If I like it, I should wear it, shouldn't I? I should be proud to wear it. But anyway, after that feedback, it kind of put me off the exposed seams, and I decided to make one up without the exposed seams on my next version. But yeah, I did make some adjustments to the pattern. And the sleeve is really interesting because you've just got this one seam that starts at like the middle of the back, and then it kind of comes round to the front at the bottom. I think Naomi really is a brilliant pattern designer, in my opinion. She always, all the patterns that I've made of hers, like, all have something, I think, a little bit extra, and are always really well fitting. it's not just the standard one. Actually, what I'm wearing today, this is a Lydia Naomi pattern, and I forgot to mention. So this is now called the mitten frock. It was called the January frock. But it's like a big polo neck, and I've made it in the cosy colours, as you can see. It's got a very long neck, so you can actually have it all the way up like that, or stood up. Or I like to fold it down in half and wear it like that. But you can see there the seam is like a seam line like that goes up and all the way up into the neck, and that's just, I think, I've not seen that on any other pattern before. I really like that little feature, and yeah, I think she does some really nice patterns. Back to this dress. I am actually just going to turn this into a pair of like a t-shirt and shorts to wear in bed. So it's not going to go to waste, this fabric, but I think it was important to make up a practice. So made some tweaks after this. I raised up the underbust seam slightly and I made another little change to the hip line, because I thought if I was moving that up, that would come up as well, and I didn't know whether I wanted it quite as high. So anyway, did make a few little tweaks, and then this is the finished dress. The first thing you might notice is actually the neckline is different, and that's because I decided to just lower it down slightly. When it was made up in this cotton jersey, the jersey obviously doesn't have as much stretch, and it felt a little bit constrictive around my front of my neck. So I decided to just redraft a little neckline, and I drafted a neckband to go on it. So it sits up quite high still, which is what I wanted, but it doesn't have like any kind of polo kind of neck. And I suppose that makes it a little bit more versatile in terms of when I could wear it. I do like all season kind of clothing. Obviously, if it was absolutely boiling, then I wouldn't wear long sleeves, but any other time of year. I do like it without the exposed seams, but I think you kind of like miss some of the detail on it. The skirt is cut in a really interesting way, and you've got a piece down the front that goes to the length of the dress, but then the back kind of joins the front, and I think it's a really pretty detail. So I did do the lettuce kind of hem on the sleeve, so you can see my overlocking there, and on the bottom of the hem here as well. I did lower the differential feed on my overlocker to create the lettuce hem, and I did like pull it slightly, but I don't think it's got a full lettuce effect. I don't know, maybe I would need a bit of a more of a play around with it. Although it's slightly stretched out, I did actually on the bottom of the hem think, oh, maybe I should just like hem it like normal. So you can actually see there where I have hemmed it, this like little bits of thread there. I did actually go round, like halfway round, and hem it like you would normally. And then I compared it to the bit that I'd left unhemmed, because I ran out of thread part way through. And I thought actually I prefer the kind of like the hem with the overlocked edge, actually, and I preferred the length of it. So kept it like that, and I've kept the matching on the sleeves as well. So that was one of my first makes. I'm very happy with it. In fact, talking about the details of the dress and it missing with the exposed seams, that's why I decided to actually have cut out this dress in this grey stripy fabric, and I'm going to have a little bit of a play with the way that the stripes go. So I'm going to put the stripes in different directions, and then you'll be able to see some of the details of the dress once it's put together. So that is actually going to be the next thing that I make. So in between cutting out that and making the Celeste dress, I also had a little bit of fun doing some other knit dresses. So when I was looking through my pile of knit fabrics, I remembered that I'd made the Else Can dress by Charlotte Can, and I'd given it to my sister on her birthday. So I'd bought the exact same material because I was so happy. I absolutely loved that dress. I bought the exact same material from First for Fabrics, and it was either a tencel or a modal jersey. I already had the pattern because I'd already made the dress. I had the exact same fabric, I'd already made the dress in, and I knew that I just wanted an exact replica of the dress that I gave away. So I've had that in my plans also for a long time, and doing this Celeste dress reminded me of that. So I decided to make that dress, and because I already knew I fitted it and I loved it, I also had another jersey that I also had in mind for the batwing dress, and I thought rather than just do one at a time, why not do a batch and do two together? So that's what I ended up doing. So I did two Else Can dresses, batwing dresses, one in a plain black and one in a black leopard print. Now this leopard print is going to feature again. So this is the leopard print. As you can see, it's white on the back, and then it's grey, black and kind of white, or light grey. It's a very slinky material. It's quite thin, quite clingy and quite slinky. In fact, I think Lady McElroy on their website call it a slinky jersey, and definitely would say slinky. And I decided, I bought this material also with like an evening kind of dress in mind, and I loved the batwing dress, so I decided, yeah, to cut out two, as I was saying. And the only problem with this, which I didn't think about before I cut it out, and then when I was making it I thought, oh yes, they do say this in the pattern, is this is like a bit of a cow neck. The back is finished with a neckband, but the front is left raw and just folded under. Now that means that the front, you can kind of see the back of the fabric. So with such a like white background, and then it did become a bit obvious. So what I decided to do was fold it in and sew it down. So that's sewed down there. So I've sewed it down there, and then even then it was still showing a little bit when I was wearing it. So what I then did was I folded it in again at the side, and then I just put a little bit of a tack on each side just to hold it in place, to stop it from flopping outwards, because when it was just folded once over once, it kind of flopped outward. I just tucked it in again and sewed it down on each side, and that means that I can wear it now without any risk of the inside of the material showing on the outside. And this is a lovely dress. I'm really happy with it. I love the batwing style. So I'd done 4 knit dresses up to then, but I still wasn't done, because I did want like a bodycon style dress, that's a bit more fitted at the top and the bottom. And I've looked at the Deer and Doe dress as well before, and it was between the Deer and Doe, I can't remember the name, I'll pop up the picture of it here, and the name across the bottom. and I found the one, it's a Simplicity by Mimi G, and again I don't know the number, so I'll put up the number here and I'll put up a picture of what it looks like. And I decided that I was going to try out the Simplicity one. I decided to make up a mock-up of that one as well, and I decided to do that in a fabric that I got from Legend Textiles again, because it's like inexpensive. And the fabric that I got from Legend Textiles was a fabric that I had already purchased from Lady McElroy, so I knew it was the Lady McElroy fabric. I think they've only got 1 metre left, so, and it's this material here. So it's kind of like a 1920s kind of design on it. The Simplicity pattern, I did love it, but it did not fit me very well around the neckline. So you can see it's got quite a low square neckline, and I really liked the low square neckline, but I knew that I didn't want it too low, so I did bring it up a bit, probably just by 2 centimetres, and I thought I would try and do that. I made it up and in this material, and it was really gaping at the front. I ended up taking 10 centimetres. I don't know whether I had actually stretched the neckline out a little bit, but I ended up taking 10 centimetres out the front and creating like a little dart here. So there's a dart that starts here and comes to there. It worked, but the neckline on this pattern is finished with a lining. The lining and the bodice are sewn together and then flipped. Obviously you understitch and then you flip your bodice over, but I kept finding that the inside of the bodice would come out to the outside, and I couldn't get the neckline to stay as it was without the lining poking out, even though I'd understitched it and everything. So I thought, no, I'm not happy with that, and I wondered whether it was because I'd not sewn it very well. Instead, I cut off where the lining and the facing were joined together, and then measured around that, drafted a neckband, and I added a neckband on it instead. So I fixed it, but the jewellery is still out on this dress. I think because I've got there's a seam down the centre back, and I didn't pattern match, and I know people will say that doesn't matter, and if I saw it on someone else I would think that's absolutely fine, but for me, that not pattern matching on this does put me off the dress, I have to be honest. And because I've got the seam down the centre front and it's not pattern matched at the back, and all I can see with it is problems, and I don't know whether I actually like it all that much. The jewellery is still out. I've still got some of this material. As I said, I'd bought some from Legend Textiles after I'd already bought it from Lady McElroy. I do really like the fabric, and I do have quite a bit of it left. So I could always cut up this and use parts of it in a future make. I probably just think I need to pattern match if I'm going to make a dress. I don't think you would be able to perfectly pattern match it from the top to the bottom, because it's not a straight seam, it's curved to take account of the curve of your back and, you know, to cover your bottom and everything. So it wouldn't be perfectly pattern matched anyway, and I kind of have to bear that in mind, but I would like it to be better pattern matched, maybe just like in the centre of the dress. Yeah, I should have paid a bit more attention to that. So that was my first one and made the Simplicity pattern, and I thought, right, I know what changes I need to make to the neckline now to make it fit properly. and I thought, right, I'll get the Agnes top out and compare it to the Simplicity pattern just to see what changes I needed to make, because I know that the Agnes pattern fits me well around the neckline. And the issue is that the shoulder seam was too high. So I needed to take it. I think I also had a bit of an issue because I cut out the size that I cut out for my first one was too big. I cut out the size 16 according to the measurements. But actually I think I needed to cut out, I think I actually could have sized down 1 or maybe even 2, depending on how much stretch you had in the fabric, because it is quite like a bodycon style. So I actually needed to cut it down to the size 10 at the shoulder seam and keep the neckline as it was. So I decided to do that and make it in the fabric that you've already seen, the leopard print fabric. And I thought that would make an amazing bodycon dress. So, and I thought I would make it long, so I've got one long leopard print dress and one of the bat wing, which is like above my knee, so they wouldn't look like it was just like the same dress. I'd have one longer one, one shorter one. So that's what I decided to make, and made some adjustments to the pattern and proceeded to sew it up. Now it fitted much better around the neckline, but it was still a little bit gapy at the front and it was still flipping out at the back. I think if it was a more stable jersey, like a cotton jersey, rather than either a viscose jersey or like quite a slinky jersey, I think it would have behaved a little bit better around the neckline, but I just really couldn't get it. So it looked neat. It's not too bad actually where it's on there, but where you can see the white from the underneath coming through. I thought about top stitching it down all around the neckline, and I tried to do it just at the back to see how it would look, and it looked horrendous. And I thought, no, I can't do that. So I had a bit of time out thinking about this dress and what I should do with it. And in the end, I decided to cut out the Agnes top, and I just made it shorter. So I kind of had to dismantle the whole dress, cut out a new one and sew it all back up together. So I had to save the dress, and I was feeling very inspired by the Sew Upcycle vlogs. So thank you to Karen and Becky who are running that challenge. I'm not participating formally. I didn't want to take anything on that, you know, and overcommit myself, but I did take inspiration. I am very happy with the final dress that I made, but I can't say, number one, it's a Simplicity pattern, and I can't say, number two, that I would recommend the Simplicity pattern. Yeah, for me it just didn't fit very well, and maybe because of the choice of fabric, it also didn't sew up very well. If 6 knit dresses wasn't enough, I actually made one other thing, and this is the Freya top. And this is a fabric that I got from Sherwood's a while ago, and it's such a fun fabric. So it's black background and then these silver, and they're kind of 2 different shades. So one's a bit of a lighter one, one's a bit of a darker one. Silver fabric, so it's quite shimmery and it feels lovely. It's lovely and soft. Metallic fabric can often like get all over the place, like rub off on your hands and things like that, or be a little bit scratchy, but this fabric is neither. It's just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loved working with it. It was really, really well behaved, and I love the effect that it gives. It's very shimmery, and I thought this would make like a nice going out top, and I decided to make the Freya top, and I thought I could put it underneath things just to kind of bring a little bit extra something to, like a dress. I could wear like a black dress over it or something, or I could wear it with like a more casual bottoms just to kind of elevate it a little bit for evening wear. And I've had this fabric since, I think it's definitely over a year, but it was another knit that jumped out to me when I was looking at all my knit fabrics. And yeah, I thought, oh, now's the time coming up to winter to make something like this, something party-ish. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I just made a Freya top, so it's got long sleeves and the mock polo neck, and yeah, and I'm really happy with how it looks. Those are the makes that I wanted to share with you. I have quite a few things planned, sewing related. I'm going to be going to Christine's social next week, which is at Mill House, the Mill House venue, and really looking forward to seeing everybody there. And I'm going to be meeting Susan, who is Seaside Stitches, and I'm really looking forward to meeting her. Yeah, she's absolutely lovely, and we've had a few conversations. So yeah, I'm going to be happy to meet Susan. And if you haven't checked out her channel, please do. She's on 960 subscribers as I speak, so I'm sure she'll be keen to get help getting to the 1000 subscriber mark. So it would be amazing if you could go over to her channel and give her a subscribe if you've not done so already. And there is another channel that I wanted to give a shout out to, and that's to Julie, and that's Julie Sews Her Own Clothes, and that's got an underscore in between each word, and she's got a fantastic channel. I first heard about Julie when she won my 1000 subscribers prize, and I was looking for her to get in touch with her because she'd not got in touch with me about claiming the prize. So I managed to track her down on Instagram because she had the same handle on Instagram, and then she said to me, oh, I'm just going to be setting up my own YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, that's really exciting. And then I saw her post a story about it, and I went straight over and watched it. So I think I was one, if not her first subscriber, I think I was one of the first ones. And her channel is absolutely brilliant. She says some lovely things. She's really, really personable, and yeah, lots of content over there for you to enjoy as well. So I just wanted to give her a little mention, and if she watches this, hi Julie. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.